up to order, please rise for a moment of silence or a prayer for our forces in Iraq. John Raj will lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Okay, roll call.
Freeholder Barrett. Freeholder Polos.
Here, Director, I need to just step out for a minute to make a call for business. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Thank you.
Freeholder Rafano.
Here.
Freeholder Rios. Freeholder Scott. Here. Freeholder Valenti.
Here.
Freeholder Director Delina.
Here. Is there no objection? I would like to ask the board to deviate from the regular order of business for the administration of the oath of allegiance to Robert Dreyer, who was recently appointed to the Middlesex County Mosquito Extermination Commission. Mr. Dreyer, step up. Margaret.
It's a surprise.
Hello again.
Hi.
Raise your right hand.
Raise
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I
I, Robert Dreyer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to
and
the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United
in the
States
United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of
all the duties of the office of
Commissioner, Middlesex County Mosquito Extermination Commission,
Commissioner, Middlesex County Mosquito Extermination Commission,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Need a
Thank you.
signature, please?
Good luck to you, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it, Margaret? Okay.
Want to deviate to do it like here.
Motion to resume the regular order of business. I need a motion.
Motion?
Motion by Blanquita.
Second.
Second by Rafano. Will we vote on it? Roll call vote.
Freeholder Rafano.
Yes.
Freeholder Scott.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Delina.
Okay. Next, we're going to do the Licata presentation by Mr. by Blanquita Valenti.
That's good.
Good evening. It is my honor and privilege to do something very worthwhile for our Middlesex County Local Advisory Committee on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, LACADA. And this is our second annual presentation to commemorate National Recovery Month. These presentations are made to remind us of the importance of recovery to society in general, but in particular to the person completing a program and to their families. We also want to recognize the agencies that work with our clients to aid them in becoming productive citizens. Once again, I call upon John Downs, chairperson of the LACADA, to make the presentations. John?
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if the mic is okay. I have the pleasure of presenting this award to these individuals in this agency, but I also have to acknowledge that Roger said that we should be doing something on National Recovery Month. Actually, I guess it's recovery every day, quite frankly, for us all, one way or the other. And this evening, we have some people who have contributed to the community, who are still contributing, and we have individuals who are very civic-minded, and now they're contributing, giving something back to the community that has worked with them. So, you know, sometimes you attempt to describe what the individuals contributed in doing, and usually you don't do them justice. So this evening, we would like to have them do themselves justice. And we have Mr. Elliott White here and our director, Mr. Stollenheimer, here with us as well. We want to thank you for continuing to inspire us to do our work. The first person that I have on the list is George Barry.
Okay, first of all, is it on? It's on, okay, all right. Well, you know, I usually talk loud without it anyway. But first of all, I'd like to thank God for the opportunity. He's been blessing me every day to be alive, to make this, and that's one of it. I'd like to thank my mother that stood by me through the thick and thin of things. And I'd also like to thank, I think he might have left, he had another calling, but my spiritual leader, Reverend Willie Seawright, through these years to help me go and show how much it is and everything like that. And the other thing, I was going to be smart, but I'm not going to do that. But one of the things I was going to say is that we have to work on the most important river of all in life, because we're all on a ship traveling through life. And one of the times we run into difficulties because as we're going, we have the river called denial. And one of the things we have to do that covers all areas, not only in drug abuse, but also consideration and respect we have for other people. Because we got to do that, and we're all in the same boat together. And the only thing we can work out to get other people to recover is to pull together. There's nobody no better than anybody else, and I thank everybody for this award. Thank you.
George, in grateful recognition for your leadership and outstanding contribution to the recovery community, we thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next individual is Mr. Jimmy Foy. In recognition, we're grateful again for your leadership and outstanding contribution to the recovery community.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I must be dreaming. I got cue cards because I didn't want to forget anything. I want to start by saying we can and we do recover. I want to thank everybody that helped me on my path in life to get me to this point. I want to thank the New Hope Foundation, Lakata, the Board of Freeholders, my boss Michelle for nominating me. I want to thank my family who continued to love me until I was able to love myself again. I want to say thanks to Ed Mann. I don't think he's here. There's a whole lot of people that helped me that's not here tonight. On April 27, 2002, my brother Samuel drove me to New Hope Detox Unit, and that was the day I surrendered. I don't think I have arrived. I just think I'm an example of God's grace and mercy in the process of recovery at work. I have become a productive member of society. I am no longer an embarrassment or a burden to my family. I am now a plus, not a minus. The legal system tagged me as a career criminal, and I must say with good reason. Yes, I'm that dope fiend, dope addict from Remsen Avenue. In order to move forward in life, I must always remember where I came from and share the hope. I am now a certified alcohol and drug counselor. And I just want to say any addict with the desire can stop using drugs, in time lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. And again, I just want to say thanks to everyone that played a part to bring me to this point in my life.
Thank you. You know, agencies, vendors, or whatever they call individuals who dedicate their life to providing a service to the community is priceless. They always go beyond the call of duty to provide a quality services to the citizens that we send to them. And this award goes to the New Hope Foundation. I had the privilege of being a part of Open Door as a board member and also a board member of the New Hope Foundation many years ago. So I do have some knowledge of the quality of work that is provided. And we want to thank you for the many years of distinguished service to those in need of quality recovery and substance abuse treatment, presented by the Middlesex County Department of Human Services Division of Addicted Services, the National Recovery Award to the New Hope Foundation.
Accepting the awards tonight are the Executive Director of the New Hope Foundation, Dr. Tony Comerford, and his Deputy Director, Dave Roden.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable freeholders, the board members, Tom Salheimer, Elliot, Roger, Pam. The way that we see this, we're all in this together. And we really appreciate the freeholders and all of you making the resources available for us to do the work that we do. And I think one of our greatest achievements over the years was hiring Jim Foy. And I want to invite you all to continue to join with us in our dedication to success and recovery. And thank you all for all of your efforts on our behalf. Thank you.
I just want to say how proud we are of Jim and congratulate the other recipient. These are the folks that walk the walk every day, and you know, they do provide a message of hope for people out there still struggling. And the Human Services Department at Middlesex County has collaborated with us through the years to really serve, I think, serve the residents first class. So, you know, you have a great team here, and we appreciate their, you know, continued support, and congratulations again to everybody. Thank you.
I thank you very much. This ends the presentation.
Lankita,
She's going to do a report later.
you can do your report now?
Separately, later. You can go on to her family.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. I'm going to go with Carol Barrett. Carol Barrett, our freeholder, is absent. James Paulus, he went out, he had to make a phone call. Freeholder Krista DiBrafano.
Thank you, Director.
Yeah, we're just going to do it.
Just let him go.
No, let him go, don't worry about that. Let him go.
You too. I just have a statement to read for the Director.
Go ahead.
Over the past week, Middlesex County's commitment to shared services initiatives has been the focus of various media reports. Let me state unequivocally that the Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders and Middlesex County government have been, are now, and will continue to be a driving force to promote shared services programs at the county, local, and state level for one simple reason. It is our duty to act in the best interest of our taxpayers. Middlesex County has set itself apart with the breadth and depth of its shared services programs. Since 1998, we have been housing Somerset County juvenile offenders in our youth detention center. This past year, myself and Freeholder Millie Scott fostered an agreement with Monmouth County for medical examiner services. Under Freeholder Rios, Piscataway Township recently became the 21st municipality in the county to have the Middlesex County Public Health Department as its contracted health department. We also have enabled our local police departments the ability to use telepsychiatry services for arrested individuals, and we have upgraded our radio system and made it available to our municipalities. My colleague, Freeholder H. James Paulos, has championed shared service initiatives here among our municipal partners and at the state level. He led the drive for a statewide shared services association, and he is helping Middlesex County develop the first county-level web-based portal that enables users to search a database to find the best contracted rates for goods and services. Under his guidance, the Shared Services Department also led the effort on a shared vehicle washing facility and public safety dispatch services for several municipalities. Freeholder Paulos, like the rest of us, recognized that sharing services is one way to reduce the costs and save taxpayer money at all levels of government. Given our collective track record, county taxpayers can feel confident that we will continue to seek out ways to promote shared services initiatives where they best serve our residents. With that said, let me make it clear that the recent resignation of our shared services coordinator does not end the county commitment to shared services initiatives. Quite the contrary. It gives the county the ability to more effectively make use of county taxpayer dollars and our existing resources. It is my intent to recommend at the next executive session at which personnel matters are discussed that an existing county employee be assigned the full-time shared services coordinator position, which therefore can continue to be funded through the state shared services grant. As you recall, the original shared services coordinator assumed the duties in the same procedural way. I strongly believe that the individual that I am recommending for reassignment has all the qualifications to assume the shared services coordinator duties. By allocating our current resources, utilizing state funds, we eliminate the need to hire an additional employee to add to the existing county workforce and thereby reduce the burden on our taxpayers. As we move toward 2010, an organizational structure that will support our current and future shared services efforts will be reviewed by the board. As a government, we must embrace any and all ways to ease the tax burden on our residents, especially in these tough economic times. I applaud the work that has been done in the shared services area and encourage us all to continue to look for new opportunities to study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Freeholder. Okay. Freeholder Scott,
Thank you.
would you like to make your report?
Yes. November 19th was National Adoption Day. It was in the courthouse, and as Judge Francis puts it, it was one of the happiest days in the courthouse. You don't see too many happy days in the courthouse. There were 16 families and 23 children that were adopted by these 16 families. So that was a happy day. And on November 22nd, I attended boot camp at the juvenile facility along with Freeholder Blaquita Valenti. And boot camp is a camp for juveniles that have been involved with the criminal justice system. And what they do with this boot camp, they go every week for 6 weeks to prevent them from going into the correction facility. In other words, by taking part in this program, they would not be housed in a correction facility. And it gives them an opportunity to build their self-esteem, to change their bad habits and discipline. And that Sunday, yesterday, there was a young man that was in this boot camp 6 years ago. He was one of the first students to attend this boot camp. He now is 21 years old, and he's a Marine. And he came back to speak to the students that were at this boot camp and encourage them to do the right thing and follow a different path of life so they can be people that will be able to give back to the society and people that know that they are loved not only by their parents but also by their community. So I think it's a very good program that the boot camp has instilled. And this boot camp was formed by the prosecutor's office. The instructors are from the Sheriff's Department and for the Department of Corrections. And I really want to thank the prosecutor's office, the Sheriff's Department, and the Department of Corrections for putting this program together. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. Okay, Freeholder Paulus, you want to make your remarks now?
Sure.
The report from the...
Thank you, Director. Received a letter a couple of days ago from the Governor's office, actually from Mary Beth Brenner, Director of Office of Constituent Services. On behalf of the Department of Environmental Protection, I'm pleased to announce that Middlesex County has been selected as a winner of the 2009 New Jersey Governor's Environmental Excellence Award. We will be receiving the award on December 3rd, and this is being provided as a result of the county's efforts to achieve sustainability and the innovation that we have to go green in Middlesex County. So we're really excited about the Governor and the DEP's recognition of the work that we're doing here in Middlesex County to create a cleaner and greener county. I briefly discussed with some members of the Freeholder Board, and I'd like to ask consideration to have added on to the next agenda, a shared service arrangement with the Township of North Brunswick. We've been able to negotiate an arrangement where they're willing to provide an employee that they have currently in their employ to assist us with the implementation of green technology and also fostering our efforts towards green economic development. I'd like to recommend to the board this is a fully free opportunity to share services. They're willing to provide an employee of theirs for a 90-day period. I'd like to ask the board to add this to the next agenda. I would recommend that since this is a green initiative, we would have them work through the Green Technology Office, or I should say through our office, which really is working on green, through our Public Properties Division, working along with Jeff Meyerowitz, and also assisting the Green Economic Development Zone Committee with some of its efforts, which consists of Freeholder Rios and myself, and also members of the county as well as state agencies. Is the board okay with that?
Okay, that's it?
Well, I'm just asking the board.
No, if it's a matter involving personnel, I think it has to be discussed in
An
executive session.
executive session, right?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be discussed
That'll
in
be the
executive
next
session?
meeting. The
It's a
next,
shared service, isn't that public?
the next, no, not a
But,
meeting.
but just for clarification, the resolution would be prepared for presentation to the board to the extent that an individual would be discussed, whether it be through an interlocal agreement. The individual is going to be providing services through that interlocal agreement to the county under county supervision. It would be appropriate to have the discussion on the individual in closed session. I think for the purposes of having a resolution prepared for consideration, we will have that at your suggestion on the agenda.
But we did discuss it in closed session already, so
For the
why
next
can't...
closed session, I think, am I right?
Well,
Why
there
can't
was
we-
a discussion with regard to the resolution, and I will prepare a resolution for addition. But my recollection is there was no determination made on a particular individual at that time. I think the discussion actually ended because we all left. So to the extent that we want to finish the discussion with respect to an individual, I think it would be appropriate to do that at the agenda meeting, which I think is a week from today, as a matter of fact. But
But
I'll
we-
prepare a resolution for...
But I'm curious, I don't understand. We had thorough discussion about the person, the individual, the administrator's aware of who they are. We had discussions about it already. Why wouldn't we just be able to put it onto the agenda?
Again, the freeholders can make a determination, but my recollection was there wasn't a determination made during that closed session.
Well, you can't do that in closed session. We already know that. That's why I'm bringing it up in
Right,
public.
but there was never a discussion even on what the consensus was.
Right.
And I think it actually
Well, that's
ended
what I'm trying to get. We don't need to get, why can't we do consensus here?
because under the Open Public Meetings Act, I think when you're discussing a consensus on an individual, whether it's a direct hire or under an interlocal, when they're going to provide services to the county, even through an interlocal, those discussions, unless the individual consents in writing to have it in the public session, needs to be in closed session.
So
Because you're going to discuss the individual qualifications, not the nature of the interlocal, but you're still talking about qualifications for an individual. And in that meeting that we had, that discussion never ended with any consensus.
So if a public body proposes to provide us assistance on a 3-month basis by providing us an individual that can assist us with our initiatives, that becomes an
discussion should be
executive session?
No, that's in public session.
Okay.
That's in public session.
So that's
I'm
what I'm
making the
discussing.
distinction with that, and the discussion with respect to having an interlocal
Okay.
with that arrangement is properly in the public forum.
So then that's what I want to discuss tonight. We can discuss the actual individual in closed session. If that's, although we already had that discussion, we can do
Well,
it again. but-
We did have a discussion, but I don't think the discussion concluded. I think we actually ended the meeting before that concluded.
So then let's talk about the availability of creating the position through a shared service arrangement with the Township of North Brunswick, which has already been proposed.
And that's fine.
And that's fine, right?
That's fine.
So I'm asking the board for inclusion on the next agenda, the arrangement with the Township of North Brunswick for them to provide an individual for a period of 90 days to work with our green coordinator, Jeff Mayerwitz, on green initiatives, and also to assist with some of the implementation of our green economic development zone. This is a no-cost, no taxpayer issue. It is a 90-day free assistance. So on the concept of that, I'd like to have that included on the agenda, and then we can talk about the particular person.
Right.
If you want to then deny it because of the person, I guess you could do that after the next executive session,
Well,
correct?
just, Freeholder, just for clarification, I think I'm making a distinction between where the discussions can occur. The discussion on the individual and qualifications, closed session.
Fine.
The addition of the resolution to put on the agenda for discussion at the next meeting is properly here. I think the determination as to whether we want to actually act on an interlocal agreement will depend on what's in the interlocal agreement. And that's why
Well, I'm describing interlocal agreement. You and I had conversations already about
Right.
this as well, so this isn't new. We
No,
had
there's nothing new about
conversations.
it.
This is a free opportunity to work with North Brunswick, who will provide us someone for 90 days. We have no obligation to continue it past that. It's an assistance to help us move our green initiatives forward.
Correct.
I don't know how much more we really need to know.
Well, the issues that need to still, that the board will want to know answers to are things such as liability with respect to actions that they're taking on behalf of the county.
Well, it would be like any other volunteer or employee, correct? Any volunteer that works for the borough, for the county, or anyone who works on behalf of the county would fall into the same
I
liability
didn't
category,
understand
right?
them to be a volunteer. They're actually being paid by the municipality to perform services on behalf of the county.
Right, but we're not paying them, so they're not our employee.
But they're not our employee, but if they're doing work that is potentially on behalf of the county, they may be, whatever the actions they take reflect upon the county.
course.
And there's liability for that.
Of course.
So again, it's not my purpose for you to debate that. I'm just suggesting those kinds of issues
Sure.
will be in the interlocal agreement.
Of course.
And we'll prepare that so that the board then, at the next meeting,
Sure.
aside from talking about an individual in closed session, will have that resolution to consider.
Yeah, I have no
Like-
problem with the simple issues of insurance. I think
Right.
those are just the collateral issues. This
Yes,
is more the
understand.
concept, so.
Right.
Is everyone in agreement then that we proceed with this?
Conceptually, to have a township certainly loan an employee to us that could be beneficial, I don't think conceptually I have a problem with it. I think subject to us to review the interlocal and subject to the executive session, I don't think anybody's opposed to it.
So
We'll have it on for.
okay to put that on for the next agenda then?
Yes.
So we'll put it on for the next agenda meeting, okay, Jim?
That sounds good.
All right, thank you.
With respect to shared services, I appreciate the Freeholder Deputy Director's comments, and they seem certainly a step forward and a departure from the original feeling, which was that we were going to do nothing with respect to shared service. So we certainly made progress in the last few days, and I appreciate the overture now to assign someone. Query, I presented an applicant, and we won't discuss their particulars since that's executive session, correct, Mr. Kelso?
Yes, correct.
So I presented a very qualified applicant for the position, both to the director, who agreed that it was okay to put on the agenda, to the administrator, did not hear anything from him to the contrary. I sent an email to the Freeholder Board indicating who the individual was, providing a copy of the resume and requesting that they be put on. according to your comments in the paper, we were going to be shuffling this around to other departments, or perhaps that was according to the administrator. There's now a new statement which indicates we're now going to assign someone. And let me go a little further. It actually indicates that you're going to select the individual who's going to be assigned to shared services. Query, why are you selecting the person that's going to be working in my department under my chairmanship?
I didn't say I was going to select somebody. I was
No,
going
you
to
indicated
recommend
that.
somebody.
Well, why are you doing that?
What's that?
Why are you doing that?
Because I have an idea, I've thought of somebody I think who will do the job very well. But let me clear up a couple things that you've misstated.
Please.
There was at no point in time, in fact, I reviewed the minutes of that closed session meeting with our clerk today.
I'm not talking
No,
about closed
no-
session. I'm talking about it was in the newspaper.
Okay, at no point in time did any freeholder at any point in time talk about doing away with the position. The concern, as you can see from the statement that I've indicated, is that we feel as though that position can be filled by somebody who currently works for the county. There's no need to hire somebody, a new person per se. That's what's been misinterpreted. And again, I think this board probably takes offense to your statements about being opposed to shared services. We have worked effectively at shared services. We have probably put together at least a half a dozen. I listed just some of them here through our department heads, through our business administrator, through the freeholders. It's been effective. At no point in time did I ever say, and I don't think any other freeholder ever say, we're going to eliminate the position.
Oh, that's, well, to the
And
contrary.
I'm making a recommendation because, first of all, as chairman of Finance and Administration, I think that there is a person that we'll talk about at that executive session that fits the bill.
Okay. Well, first of all, you're not chairman of personnel. Secondly, this is the first I've heard, so thank you for the notice, that you had a plan to utilize an existing employee full-time. You actually, in the paper, quoted, or Mr. Pulamina was, that this was going to be dispersed amongst various department heads who had expertise and experience to oversee the implementation of shared services within the county. And at that point, I indicated to you, and certainly responded to those comments as well, that may all be all well and good for the members of the Freeholder Board who now feel that they're expert in shared services, and I compliment everyone for that. However, it certainly still continues to leave our communities in a lurch. This is a full-time, paid directorship that this county fought for, lobbied for, and got fully funded. I recall the day that Speaker Roberts sat right in that chair there and lauded us for our foresight and vision to create this department. We filled the position. The person rose to become president of the Shared Services Association in the state and gave us quite a bit of access and opportunity as a full-time conscientious shared service director to funding and opportunities. And again, where I have concern is that there have been numerous grants that were obtained by the Shared Services Director, one in particular for $66,000 to assist South County with the implementation of a shared service public safety dispatch initiative. Another one, which you should be very familiar with, Chris, which involved your community. A wonderful consulting team program was put together by Rutgers and our shared service director, which included East Brunswick, South River, Spotswood, and Helmetta. In fact, I have an email from your administrator lauding the work of the county shared services director and how much time and effort actually has to go in. So the concern that I have is that up until this point tonight, and this is great, I was expecting some rabbit out of a hat, we'd had no commitment to a shared service director in Middlesex County by the board, certainly by you and your comments to me. And I'm surprised that now all of a sudden we have someone who is yet to be identified. So why that couldn't have happened all these days, I really don't know, and I suspect that maybe you're still searching for who this person's going to be. We're now going to select somebody from within and try to put them into this position for a short period of time, so it basically becomes a short-range funding source. The question for you, are you going to let them go at the end of the grant period?
No.
You're not. So this is just a short-term funding source.
No. Jimmy.
I'm asking a question. You have a plan in mind. I'm just asking what it is.
The plan is to take an existing employee who's already being paid by us, put him in this position. If the grant continues, that's a direct savings to the taxpayers of Middlesex County. Period.
And at the conclusion of the grant, they're going to go back onto the county taxpayers' rolls?
He would then be, as he is now, a paid employee of Middlesex County.
Well, I can tell you that
adding an
it is
additional
highly unlikely that the Division of Local Government Services is going to allow you to use the funds that were earmarked for new shared services directors to subsidize an employee for a short period of time in between as a subsidy to our budget. I'll be very surprised and rather shocked if they even allow that type of funding. Have you checked to see if that's even allowed? Have you?
Can I comment on that?
No, I'm asking the freeholder, not you.
Excuse me?
Freeholder, I said I'm asking the freeholder, not you,
Excuse me?
county administrator. Thank you.
I defer to the county administrator.
Well, then that's okay. I got my answer.
Well,
So-
I feel an obligation to respond on behalf of Deputy Director who's asked me to respond to that. As you know, there are many grant positions that are held in Middlesex County. And in many cases, what happens under a grant position, the person takes a leave of absence from their position and takes on the full assignment that's fully funded by that grant, or partially funded, depending. In this case, I think the point that Deputy Director Rafano was making is that if you look at the fact that the funding is in place from the shared services grant to the tune of about $100,000, that by reassigning a person to be the coordinator, it will be funded by the state, which reduces the tax levy to Middlesex County in 2010 by the $102,000. The other advantage to that is that the position that I think that's being recommended that I am supporting is that by doing that, what you're essentially doing is you're not looking at a short-term commitment, so regardless if the money runs out, that our commitment to shared services continues. And the good news is that $100,000 in 2010 will come from the state to fund the position, and hopefully the state will continue to make the same commitment. Again, we have a number of positions that are grant funded, which makes sense financially to the county. So again, you're not hiring, which would increase your cost. You're using existing resources, and you're allocating those costs through the state grant funds, which saves the county $100,000 in the 2010 budget.
John, just a question, if I may.
Sure.
Are you aware that the grant provides that the person has to work exclusively for shared services?
That is correct, and that would be the commitment.
Then may I ask you a question? The individual, who shall go nameless at this point because of executive session, are they so free with time that they can take the next 9 months out of whatever their regular county responsibilities are to undertake a new series of responsibilities? I guess the question I have is number one, who will be doing their responsibilities? And if the answer is no one, then the question is how many other people do we have on the county staff that have nothing to do for 9 months and can take on a new job?
One of the things that I've tried to do as the county administrator on behalf of all the Board of Chosen Freeholders to continually look at all positions that are held within the county. Under that scenario where there's opportunity to consolidate, which is really under the theme of also shared services, where you can consolidate functions and in cases hopefully eliminate some work that may be redundant, we look to do that. In addition, I think the other advantage looking internally, as you know, with the financial crisis that we are all in, that before you consider laying people off, obviously what we've done in 2009 is through attrition reduce the workforce, and we need to continue to do that in 2010. But ultimately, as we bring new technology into the workplace, as we look at how we're currently doing work and figure out ways how to do it better, we bring greater efficiency in, which frees up resources to allow us to refocus and reallocate individuals, where appropriate, to new positions without costing the taxpayer a single dollar. In essence, what you're doing is you're using your workforce more efficiently, and you're saving tax dollars in the process. So that's basically what we've been trying to do over the last year, and hopefully we'll continue to do that beyond 2010.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I guess I'll just close with this. I find it highly suspect and unbelievable that we have a director-level position person that's sitting in the county workforce that has an opportunity to give up their responsibilities for 9 months, take on these new responsibilities. I was always under the impression, at least that's what's been conveyed to me at every personnel meeting and discussion I've had, and I believe that this is the case. Our workforce, our directors, our employees, our administrative personnel, our managers are well-worked, in fact, overworked. We have stretched in many instances to provide them little and extra resources and personnel because of our economic situation. We're asking them to do more and more each day with less and less. So how, again, and please realize the time frame here, from 6 days ago when we weren't doing anything, we've all of a sudden spun in our chair and found someone who's going to be free for 9 months. It does become a little suspect to me that why we were able to accomplish this all of a sudden. And then the question becomes, if we're able to do without them for 9 months, and that's why I asked the question, if we're going to put them back onto the county tax roll after the 9-month period, we're going to do without them for 9 months, and then all of a sudden put them back into the county workforce. The whole thing just doesn't really sound like it makes a whole lot of sense to me. I guess I'll have to wait to see who the individual is, and we can have further discussion about it at that point. But in the meantime, again, as days continue to go on, we're hurting the programs that are in the midst of being moved ahead on the municipal level, and I certainly compliment the Freeholder Board if they're interested in taking on this responsibility intradepartmentally. Compliments to you. I certainly know the level of effect that we've had and assistance this County Department of Shared Services has had with the intradepartment work, including with Dave Pappy and the Health Department, including things that have occurred in purchasing, including things that have happened in human services, including things that are going on with the new portal, which affects information technology. The Department of Shared Services was involved, I will remind the Freeholders, in many of the initiatives that we are now all taking credit for, and it wasn't done in the absence of, and certainly without the participation and the cooperation of the Department of Shared Services. And that's not to take any credit away from Freeholders. Compliments to all of you for working on these ideas, initiating them, and seeing them through. But maybe we have just a different philosophy. My philosophy is you bring everyone to the table, you try to get the best information possible to come up with the best plan possible. And if that means involving shared services or public information or finance or purchasing or whomever can bring some expertise to the table and access to funds and grants, you do that. So at the end of the day, the end product is something that we can all be proud of and something that is in the best interest of the taxpayers in Middlesex County. To me, to close, this is just an effort, it seems to me, to cut out this position, to try to now massage it and or control it, which I think is inappropriate and not the way that this was intended to work. It worked well for 2 years. And again, I think that that's really was the intent when this was first created, and I would like to see that intent continued without this massaging and kind of smoke and mirrors of now creating a new opportunity for someone within the county. Thank you, Director.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Blanquita Valenti, you still have more on your report?
Yes, first of all, Freeholder Ron Rios was not able to attend tonight, and he asked me if I could make a presentation on his behalf. We have the proclamation. Will Mr. Michael Weinstein please come forward? Tonight we are deeply honored to observe Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Middlesex County. And I want you to know that Freeholder Ron Rios' mother passed away due to pancreatic cancer, and the county had a walk in June for this endeavor, and I want to make this presentation to you, sir, and we would love to hear from you about Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you, Mr. Weinstein.
Thank you. On behalf of the New Jersey affiliates of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, I would like to thank the Board of Freeholders for this proclamation. I'd like to think that my story gives a little hope out there, as I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in November of 2005. At that time, many of the statistics that are in the proclamation about survival rates stared me in the face. I was one of the lucky ones. After 2 years of treatment, I was able to go for surgery and have been cancer-free so far for 2 years now. Unfortunately, hope is not out there in great abundance. More likely, we're to hear of stories such as Dr. Randy Pausch, who you may have followed his story of, was a professor at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, and he performed the last lecture at the end of the year for them, and he did it in such a way to leave a legacy for his 3 young children who he left behind. Also, we followed the story of Patrick Swayze, who also succumbed in September to this terrible disease. Sometimes, if we blink, we miss a story, such as Gene Upshaw, the president of the NFL Players Association, who was diagnosed on Sunday and passed away on Wednesday night. Okay. As I say, I'm one of the lucky ones, and am glad to be here tonight. The Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is the only national organization that provides hope for the cure to pancreatic cancer. We do this through patient support, through funding and research, community outreach, as well as advocacy for a total cure. The only way that we will make headway in this disease is to increase public awareness of it, and that's why these proclamations are so important in general and specifically here in Middlesex County. So I want to thank you very much for this.
I would like to continue with my report, and I'll try to be as brief as I can. The Department of Human Services sponsored a social justice workshop recently. It was very, very successful. We had Mayor June Choi, one of our keynote speakers, as well Mayor Diaz from Perth Amboy, and there were several panel discussions that brought some wonderful people like our former freeholder Jane Brady and Dr. Patrick Pagari, who's our county superintendent of schools. All the three workshops were well attended, and I thought it was a very successful day, so I want to thank Tom Salheimer of Human Services for this wonderful event that we celebrated, and it all came out of the Minority Issues Committee. I want to state with our freeholder Scott about the beautiful event on Sunday, the Youth Development Academy, where we saw these youngsters that had been in trouble that did so well at this graduation. And it was very inspiring. It's the second time I've attended. And also there was another event that was very beautiful recently, and it was the Memorial Day, not Memorial Day, I'm sorry. It was November 11th, dedicated to our all our veterans that have gone from us because of the wars. And this was at Roosevelt Park. It was a grand day weather-wise, and we had a lot of participants. The Middlesex County Veterans Committee did a wonderful job. There had to be nearly 100 people there that attended from many of the VFWs and other groups. So again, I want to thank Doug Breen and of course our Bridget Kennedy, who is involved with this group, as well as Tom Salheimer. Last but not least, next to last, I have some good news about McFoods. We have now, people are able to send checks as donations to McFoods, which was not possible before. They have made an arrangement on that, and we're running out of space. We need a bigger space area because we are receiving a lot of food donations, especially from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. We will be working on that. And this year so far, they have collected 290 tons of food. But as quickly as it comes in, it goes right out. And the concern for space is a real concern, because a lot of the food that comes in sometimes comes the week before it's open. So it's a growing pain, and it's a good sign. Last but not least, I want to, again, speak about the Department of Human Services. Tonight, and the Board of Freeholders supported me last Monday. We are establishing the Homeless Trust Fund in Middlesex County, which this will create a trust fund task and a trust fund task force also. The governor of New Jersey signed it into law last September, I believe, and it covers certain fees that are made to our county clerk, except for foreclosure proceeds. And of course, at the same time, the county will be able to draw 5% of the funds collected for the administrative costs. It will probably be in effect sometime early 2010. And I want to thank the Board of Freeholders for their support in this area, and for our Coming Home Committee, which is quite active in trying to accomplish this new facet, where no county funds will be committed, even though the county did donate to the kickstart of Coming Home. So thank you again, and I know there are some people in the audience who will want to comment on this later, and I want to thank the organizations that have been sending letters to the Board of Freeholders urging us to pass this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Blanquita. I'm glad everybody's waiting for my report. Tickets for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at the State Theater are now on sale, Rafano. The dates are this per performance, December 26th and December 26th and the 27th. The ice skating rink in Roosevelt Park is now open starting on Wednesday. There will be a very large crowd for Thanksgiving. If you want to come early, right, Ralph? We're closed on, that's what I'm saying. We forgot to put it down, it's closed. The day before, but you put down we're closed that day. All right, good. And it's a great thing for the families to go out there and ice skate, Blanquita, so go out there and enjoy yourself. And I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
I will roller skate.
Okay. Proclamations, commencement resolutions, and correspondence, Madam Secretary.
We have a proclamation recognizing November 19, 2009 as National Adoption Day in Middlesex County, and the following commemorative resolutions. Recognizing St. Demetrius Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral in the borough of Carteret on the occasion of its 100th anniversary. Next is recognizing Detective Richard Costello of South Plainfield, as he has been named the 2009 New Jersey State Trooper of the Year. Next is recognizing Captain Ian Cairns and Randy Cairns of East Brunswick, as they are being recognized by the East Brunswick Regional Chamber of Commerce as Persons of the Year. Next is recognizing November 15th, 2009 as Puerto Rico Discovery Day. Next is recognizing the following individuals who were recognized by the Puerto Rican Association for Human Development Incorporated: Dr. Lydia David, Outstanding Community Member Award; Melissa Aponte, Outstanding Student Award; and Lizzie Ann Velez, Outstanding Agency Service Award. Next is recognizing Vincent and Carol Minetta on the occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary. And last is recognizing Mark Edward Schaff II of East Brunswick, as he has attained his Eagle Scout Award.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the commencement resolution?
Motion.
Motion by Rafano,
Second.
second by Blanquita Valenti. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rafano?
Yes.
Freeholder Scott?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Delina?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read the
Excuse me.
correspondence.
Excuse me, the Trooper of the Year is here.
What?
Oh. Where is he?
We forgot two more.
No, she make the presentation to the trooper.
Over here. Okay.
Behind this pole.
Costello?
I can't see him.
You forgot.
Oh, there he is.
Hope you don't give us a...
You're hiding behind the pole.
I apologize, I'm sorry.
Well, it gives me great honor to give you this resolution as being a former law enforcement officer. And I know what kind of hard work it is out there and what kind of determination, dedication it is to do a good job. And we want to recognize you. Not only do you serve, protect Middlesex County, but the whole state. And I'd like to present you this resolution for behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. Throughout the 2008-9 year, Detective Richard Craig Costello continues to demonstrate his ability to conduct thorough investigation. He has worked with multiple agencies in his position as a detective in the Metro North Station, which has led to numerous arrests. His ambitious intelligence and accomplishments complement precisely the community of the past recipients, make him highly deserving of the honor bestowed by him, the Trooper of the Year. And I want to say congratulations, and how many years have you been on?
8 years.
8 years. Good 8 years?
Yes, ma'am.
A career of 8 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to wish you the best on behalf of the Board of Freeholders, and have a very safe year, and continue doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you like to say something?
Okay, Margaret.
Correspondence. We received a letter from Acting Commissioner Charles Richmond of the State of New Jersey Department of Community Affairs indicating that Middlesex County will receive a Sharing Available Resources Efficiency Grant of $4,496, which will provide funds to support an engineering feasibility study and options analysis regarding consolidation of municipal vehicle fleet exterior washing services for the DEP stormwater regulation compliance. A notice from the a notice from the New Jersey Department of Transportation indicating that a public information center was held November 5th from 4 to 7 p.m. regarding Smith Road over New Jersey Route 440, bridge deck replacement in Woodbridge Township. A notice from Middlesex Water Company requesting approval for an increase in the rates for water service and other tariff changes, and a public hearing will be held December 1st at 7 p.m. in Woodbridge Community Center, Main Street, Woodbridge. A notice to Public Service Electric and Gas Company customers relative to a public hearing which was held in this chambers on November 10th at 3:30 p.m. requesting changes in its electric and gas societal benefits charge rates. A resolution from the Cumberland County Board of Freeholders urging voters to vote yes on the Green Acres Water Supply and Floodplain Protection and Farmland and Historic Preservation Bond Act. A resolution from the Borough of Sayreville, actually an ordinance, supplementing and amending Chapter 7, Traffic Section 7-9, bus stops of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville, adding a local bus stop. A letter and the 2008 audit report of the Prosecutor Law Enforcement Trust Fund, letter from the County Controller indicating since there are no recommendations contained in the report, Mr. Kaczynskis recommends acceptance of the report by the board. A copy of the Middlesex County Utilities Authority Solid Waste Division 2010 preliminary budget and Utilities Authority Wastewater Division 2010 preliminary budget. Monthly financial status report from the Office of the County Controller as of October 31st. Monthly report of investments from the Office of the County Treasurer for the month of October. Minutes of the Middlesex County Improvement Authority meeting held October 14th. Minutes of the Board of Education of the Vocational Schools in Middlesex County, their meetings held September 9th, September 15th, September 23rd, and October 14th. Minutes of the Board of Trustees of Middlesex County College, their meetings held September 14th, 23rd, and October 28th. The 95th Annual Report of the Middlesex County Mosquito Extermination Commission for the year 2008. Minutes of the Middlesex County Planning Board for their meeting of October 13th. Minutes of the Solid Waste Advisory Council meeting held October 13th. A letter from Dr. Melissa Suarez requesting that the Freeholders implement the County Homelessness Trust Fund Act, as Freeholder Valenti stated. And an indication from Anna Ashkenis Executive Director of the Cultural and Heritage Commission, stating that the Cornelius Lau House Middlesex County Museum was voted by the readers of the Star-Ledger as the best museum in central New Jersey. That's it for the regular correspondence. And we have some requests for open space consideration. A letter from Carteret Mayor Daniel Ryman indicating the borough would like to make improvements to Sullivan Field at Carteret Park. The total cost of the project is estimated at $1.75 million, and they are requesting $1 million from the county's Open Space Trust Fund, $500,000 from 2009, and $500,000 from 2010. And a request, copy of a resolution from South Brunswick Township, also requesting funds from the Open Space Trust Fund for the following projects. Reichler Park Pavilion renovations, $50,000. Turf field at baseball fields in Roland Park, $400,000. And architectural fees at the senior center improvements, $50,000.
Those letters go to Ralph
Those-
from the open
yes.
space, okay. I need a motion to accept the correspondence.
Motion.
Motion by Rafano,
Second.
second by Blanquita. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, okay. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes of the board of the meetings held September 17th, October 1st, October 15th, November 5th, 2009?
Motion.
Motion by Rafano,
Second.
second by Blanquita Valenti. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed, good. Are there any resolutions to be amended, Mr. Kelso?
There are none.
There are resolutions to be added, Mr. Kelso.
There are none.
Mr. Kelso, is there any resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Well, you're all right.
Doing
Any
good.
resolution to be voided?
Yes, Freeholder Director, Resolution 091304 on page 17 is to be voided. For your information, it has been replaced by another resolution on the agenda, which is 092063.
We need a motion?
No.
No motion on that, okay. I will now open the meeting to the public to discuss any resolution listed on the agenda. Anybody would like to speak on any agenda on the resolutions tonight that we have? Anybody? Need a motion to close the public
Motion.
hearing? Motion by Rafano, seconded by Blanquita Valenti. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nobody opposed, good. Does any freeholder have any resolutions that they wish to remove from the consent agenda and vote separately?
I do, Freeholder Director, have four.
ahead.
09-1911, 09-1929, 09-1954, and 09-2020.
Okay. Mr.
I have one too, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr.
09-1932.
09-1932.
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Kelso, we need to vote on these resolutions.
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would be in order to adopt a consent agenda consisting of resolutions number 09-1908 through 09-2075, including none that were previously held, but excluding Resolution 09-1304, which is to be voided, and Resolutions 09-1911, 1929, 1954, and 2020, plus Resolution 09-1932 to be voted upon separately.
Okay, is there a second?
I need a motion.
I mean, a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Rafano, seconded by Millie Scott. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rafano?
Yes.
Freeholder Scott?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Delina?
Yes.
Now, Freeholder Director, it would be appropriate to consider the resolutions that were excluded by Freeholder Valenti. That would be 09-1911, 09-1929, 09-1954, and 09-2020.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Rafano, seconded by Millie Scott. Roll call vote.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rafano?
Yes.
Freeholder Scott?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Present not voting.
Freeholder Director Delina?
Yes.
Now, finally, Freeholder Director, it would be appropriate to consider Resolution 09-1932, which was excluded by Freeholder Rafano.
Need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Blanquita,
Second.
second by Millie Scott. Roll call vote.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Rafano?
Present not voting.
Freeholder Scott?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Delina?
Yes. At this time, I will open the floor to the public to speak. 5-minute limit only, a 5-minute limit. Anybody like to speak from the public? Anybody? You don't want to raise your, yes, sir. come up here, you can speak by the mic there, okay?
Good evening. My name is Robert Lewicki, resident of 207 Cottrell Road, Old Bridge Township. First, I would like to say that I have no financial interest in any of the properties in Old Bridge Township that I'm going to be addressing. The properties are known as the Cottrell Farm at the intersection of routes 516 and Cottrell Road, and specifically blocks 10259, lots 7 and 8. They're located on the westerly side of Cottrell Road between routes 34 and 516, and they are known as Whitney Estates, Legacy Grand, or Nobility Crest at different times, though they all refer to the same parcels. The Home News Tribune and the suburban papers have been reporting that the Middlesex County Open Space Acquisition Program is conducting a due diligence evaluation for determining its value, according to Mayor Phillips. Is this being done?
I don't know.
I can answer that question, yes.
I guess it would be interesting to know what the parameters and criteria are being input in the determination. Will that information be available?
Let me try to answer as best I can for you, sir. Whenever a property is identified by the township, it's included as a priority in our open space plan and meets the criteria for acquisition. It's referred to the Open Space Committee. The Open Space Committee then makes a recommendation, at which time, if there's a recommendation to pursue acquisition, the property is then sent to Middlesex County Improvement Authority for what we refer to as due diligence. Due diligence involves environmental review of the property to determine whether or not there are environmental issues that need to be addressed, either by the seller of the property potentially, or by the county, or by others. Also, due diligence includes the appropriate appraisals of the properties, because to the extent that the county wishes to acquire either by itself or in conjunction with the township or other community, there needs to be a fair market value determination made. In this particular case, with those properties, the environmental due diligence is substantially complete, although there has not been a final report issued, but we expect one to be done momentarily. We do have the final appraisals, which were reviewed in detail and which have now been provided to my office, the Office of County Counsel. And as a result of the receipt of those appraisals and commitments and the continued support of this by the Township of Old Bridge, it is expected that an offer will be made for the acquisition of those properties within the next 2 weeks. The only final determination that needs to be made is to the extent that there may be environmental remediation as part of that offer to the property owner.
Well, I would like, at this point, I would like to offer some information and some insights. These two properties have been linked in that developmental rights for blocks 10259, lots 7 and 8, were to have been transferred to the Cottrell Farm Development application. The zoning board, as I contend, improperly conveyed the developmental rights for 66 units without the benefit of a court-ordered hearing in accordance with case law or the order itself. As a result, in early '09, a complaint was filed in the courts challenging the zoning board's action. For some unknown reason, the judge has yet to set a conference on the complaint. Since the complaint has been filed, the Old Bridge Township Municipal Attorney has informed my attorney that Gerald Development Corporation is no longer seeking that transfer of developmental rights. When asked at a Township Council meeting, he said he has not seen any documentation to support that. Gerald Development, however, is still pursuing a preliminary approval to develop the Cottrell Farm property in part on the basis of that transfer in order to inflate the property value. The general development plan approval was based on the transferred units, and if that does not come about, the general development plan fails, and so does any other approval. Transfer of developmental rights or the withdrawal has to be determined before any valuations can be made on either parcel. This will substantially impact the value. The Gerald Development Corporation should either make a formal declaration for the withdrawal of the developmental rights, or the lawsuit should be allowed to proceed before a due diligence evaluation can be made. The property, namely Block 10259, Lots 7 and 8, consist of vast amounts of wetlands and floodplains. 4 watercourses enter this property and only 2 leave it. In excess of 800 acres drains into this property.
Okay, your
May I-
time's up, sir.
May I continue?
You got the minute.
We have a 5-minute rule.
We have just 5 minutes.
I think some of it was taken up by the person who gave.
Question. But let me, perhaps I can help you along with this, just to try to respond to that. When a determination of fair market value is done by state licensed appraisers, we have more than one appraiser that will look at the property values. I know that they are familiar with the transfer that you're referring to. I know there has been, as part of that appraisal process, is an analysis done with respect to that transfer and its impact on value. But in any situation like this, where we're looking to acquire property by a willing seller, it still comes down to whether or not the seller's willing to accept what we're prepared to offer. And I suspect that there will be a period of negotiation to the extent that the seller is willing to sell. But I can assure you that all of that information, which is a matter of public record, is taken into consideration by the appraisers and by us in our process of making an offer to the property owner. And we don't control, but the locals control, whether or not a property can be actually approved for development based upon that transfer. And I think your issue does go to the heart of whether or not an approval could be received by the developer, but from the local planning board, but is not directly affected to us with respect to how we evaluate it. But I can assure you that we are familiar with that information. It will become part of the overall process of what we're prepared to offer for the property.
One of my main concerns is that the appraisal will not be given enough or right information on which to base an appraisal.
I can say that they are familiar with that agreement.
I wish I could feel as comfortable as you.
I understand.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to speak? Motion to close the public hearing.
No, not done yet.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Freeholder Director, some of us walk a little slower.
Oh, yeah, you got up too fast.
I'm Justin Footerman from 115 South Adelaide Avenue in Highland Park. Real estate broker by profession. Broker than most, as Freeholder Polis knows. I do a lot of pro bono work. And part of the pro bono work is coming here to thank the freeholders. You just approved the Middlesex County Homelessness Trust Fund for the county, which I think is a phenomenal step forward. There is a companion piece to it that we're not discussing this evening, and that is the fact that this past year, the board approved $1 million allocated to the Housing First Capital Fund, and hopefully we'll talk about that for 2010. To show how wise this body is, based upon the statistics that I got this afternoon, in the previous 4 months, July through October, the Middlesex County 211 hotline showed that the second most in volume calls were housing. Only second to people who needed temporary financial assistance. All the data seems to indicate that this is a growing problem, and that I think that you, as a proper chosen board, have shown the insight of establishing this trust fund so that we can move into the future and help those who may not be as fortunate as we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir, come up.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Steve Nagel, 19 Back Drive, Edison. I'm the Executive Director of Infoline Middlesex County, the information referral service provider to the residents of our great land, and the provider of the County Homeless Hotline, who works directly with the clients who are approaching the scourge of homelessness. And I want to take a moment and echo the thoughts of my dear friend, Mr. Footerman from Highland Park, for your passage of 09-2074, the establishment of the Middlesex County Homelessness Trust Fund. As a provider of services to the homeless, as a member of the Board of Coming Home of Middlesex County, please allow me to thank you on behalf of all the service providers who work directly with the people that are homeless or approaching homelessness. in trying to improve the quality of their lives and making sure that Middlesex County remains the greatest county in the land. And seeing how I am probably the only thing standing between you and adjournment, I will yield the rest of my time. Thank you, Freeholder Director.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else would like to speak? Motion to call for adjournment. Motion. Motion by Rafano.
Second.
Second by Blanquita Valente. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.